They're great.
What'd you get?
They're the Ars Technica ATH 50s.
Yeah.
They're like $120, but I had like $60 worth of Amazon credits. They were half price. And first of all, the sound quality is fabulous. And second, they're like half as light as my old ones.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I can wear them forever. You know, my old,
That's cool.
I had some Shure SM440s, and dude, those things were so heavy.
Huh.
I'd wear them for an hour and I'd have to take them off.
Right.
Okay. What are we even doing this week? Okay. Ready when you are.
Hold please, conducting a speed test because it's pouring down rain outside.
Yeah, it's raining here too.
However, it seems to be fine.
Okay, I was saying, do I seem all right? I sound okay?
We both sound good, man.
Okay, good.
So, you know, and I got...
All right. Let's do this before it takes a dump.
Close that, close that, close that. Open the notes, or open the notes. Where did the notes go?
I've already posted them.
I understand. I'm looking for the hangout that the notes are in. There you are. There's your lovely face. What's the guy's name that was up at Mars Hill? Mark Driscoll?
Yeah, no. Mark Driscoll.
Okay, cool.
That's Mark Driscoll, not Bart.
I said Mark.
Oh, I thought you said Bart.
Nah. All right, hit it.
Why are you asking me about Mark Driscoll?
Because we're going to be Mark Driscoll and James McDonald today.
Why?
Because James McDonald did something stupid.
Oh. Are you sure? Because that's probably going to get me on a tirade.
I'll be on the tirade. You can just sit there and agree with me.
Okay. This will be fun. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey there, Marvel fans. Daredevil. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey there, Marvel fans. Daredevil. Good Lord.
Daredevil?
I can't.
Dar.
Dude. This is, hey, it's normally you, so now it's my turn.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Hey there, Marvel fans. Daredevil is seeing double.
Hold a baby. It always helps.
Lessons in French history in this week's Squirrel Girl.
All this and more on this week's episode of the 6 Months Behind podcast.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
What is up? This is the 6 Month Behind podcast for the week of February 11th, 2019. I am Pat.
And I am Sean.
And this week we're James McDonald and Mark Driscoll because stupid people do stupid things. How you doing, man?
I'm good, dude. How are you? What did they do this time?
Well, you know, Mark Driscoll got ran off from Mars Hill Church a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
but
for James doing stupid things that people you and I know would agree with him with.
Let's see, bullying people, not spending money inappropriately, having millions of dollars disappear, kicking board members out of the church and saying bad things about them. Sure, all these things. And And let's talk bad about people who've written negative articles about you in the past, and make sure that a shock jock named Mancow absolutely records them, so he can, when you deny the things he's saying, he can publicly release the tapes and make you look like an idiot. Because you have 100 site churches and a radio show that millions of people listen to. So sure, that's a great idea.
Who did was that Mark Driscoll?
That was James McDonald. That was our second idiot of today.
Well, wonderful.
Dude, what are these people just stupid in general?
No, they're arrogant. And this is the fruit of their hubris. This is not exactly a spiritual podcast. We talk about comic books here, but
I don't care. I don't care.
Dude, they uncovered all this stuff going on in the Baptist churches in the last little bit, as if somehow you and I didn't already know what was going on. It's like, dude, these guys think they're conduits to God, and the people around them are convinced of it, so they'll protect them against anything.
I'm watching Joel Osteen do an interview one day on ABC News. And if you don't like religious conversation, skip the next 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes. So they say, is homosexuality a sin? I'm fixing to tell you the answer, but here's his answer. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. It may be, only God knows these things. No, let me tell you what the answer is. You know what? It is a sin. And so is James McDonald's arrogance. And so is obesity. And so is anger. And so is gossip. And so is 53 other things. And we're forgiven for all of them. How hard is it to say that? And how hard is it to realize that your arrogance is as much a sin as somebody's homosexuality? Is that hard to realize?
I don't know, man.
Apparently it is. Because sin is sin is sin. It's all sin. And I don't understand. I don't.
Well, you just named like 4 things I disagree with you on, but all right.
Okay, we will avoid that conversation.
Yeah, we will.
Okay, otherwise we'll get really way off the topic.
Yeah, well, yeah, this will become a different podcast.
Well, but what they say is they say that this sin is different from that sin, is different from that sin. And God's going to judge these people more harshly than he is these people. No, it's all sin.
Sure, no, that we agree on.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying.
We just have to agree on what is and isn't sin. You named anger, which makes Jesus a sinner.
No, he didn't get angry.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Where?
He got angry and made a whip and chased money changers out of the church.
No, he made a whip and chased money changers out of the church. He didn't do it in anger.
Oh, so he just had a smile on his face the whole time?
Well, people can't see you when you make facial gestures with your hands in your mouth, but I'm not saying he had a smile on his face, but there's a difference between doing something and doing something in anger.
You can do bad things in anger, but that doesn't make the emotion of anger a sin. There's things that should make you angry.
Okay. Lest I start quoting Bible verses, we really need to move on.
Yeah, we do. This was a bad way to start the show.
It was, this is what happens when Johnny calls me 5 minutes from the house and says, hey, did you see this? Yeah. And then sends me the article so I can sit here and read it while I'm waiting on you to get through talking to your aunt.
Yeah. Why don't we start over?
Oh God. Okay. All right. All right. We'll do it again. Do it again.
Yeah. This was, I don't know what you're thinking. This is bad.
Count us in. Count us in. Count us in. I'll do it again.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
What you're gonna have to count us in again? What name the Kardashians?
We don't have to be anybody this week.
Kim. It's Kim and Khloe, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
In fact, I don't know. I think we should drop the whole being anyone bit. It's not funny. So,
okay. Sure. Count us in.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
What is up? This is the 6 months behind podcast for the week of February 11th, 2019. I am Nobody Pat.
And I'm just Sean.
There you go. See, we're Pat and Sean, and we're here to talk about comic books. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I am wound up.
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
I am, yes. I'm not allowed to talk about why I am because you've deleted the last 15 minutes of this podcast. So,
dude, it wasn't relevant to the show, and it wasn't a good way to start the show. So, no.
It was stupid people doing stupid things.
Yeah, it was, but that's not always a good reason to start our show that way.
Okay, sure.
Anyway, if you want to talk about stupid people doing stupid things, you could be DC, who's canceling all their stuff.
How much are they canceling?
Dude, I don't know. And they're also shipping everything late. Doomsday Clock number 9 still hasn't come out and has been pushed back to April. They're canceling a bunch of their Absolute editions. They're canceling books left and right. They're firing people left and right.
Well, they got to pay Bendis a salary.
Well, that's true. And apparently he announced some new stuff today. And apparently Brian Michael Bendis is just going to write everything at DC now. So,
well, that's what happens when one guy sucks up all the money in the room.
You know, it has been said on occasion that the reason you see writers and artists leave Marvel is that Marvel doesn't pay. They don't cut checks like DC or some of these other companies do. And as much as nobody wants to just go out and say that, I think that's a reason you see creators move away from Marvel after they get some recognition.
Wonder how the pay is structured these days.
Artists still get paid per page. I know that.
Yeah.
Writers, I don't know.
But I think there's still a bonus structure in place where, you know, if the book sells X number of thousand copies, you know, you get this or that or whatever.
Right. And I have heard rumor through people who host podcasts who are in the know, not us, obviously, but people who are in the industry say that, yes, Marvel does those things, but the numbers that they pay for are numbers that no one ever sees anymore.
Yeah, I would think the numbers would have to be adjusted for the current market situation.
Yeah, apparently Marvel doesn't do that.
Okay.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. But what I do know is people like Jerry Dugan can do a great run on Deadpool, get name recognition, and then go do their own creator-owned stuff at Image and make more money.
What's he doing?
He's got Gideon Falls going on right now, which is actually really good. And I think he actually might be doing a couple things for Marvel, but he's not like he was.
If you ever watch that Image documentary that's on Amazon, I think it was Scott LaBelle, who was, I forget what he was doing. He was doing one of the X books at the time. And it was selling like 500,000 copies a month. And he figured out at Image, with him owning the book, Image publishing it, he had to sell like 60,000 copies a month to break even, which he almost instantly did. And of course, you know, this was the early 90s, so the thing went on to sell a couple 100,000 copies. But dude, yeah, when you own everything, You don't have to sell many copies.
No.
No.
And then, well, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, they're canceling Scotty Young's Deadpool. So if you were enjoying that, sorry.
I was. Why are they canceling that?
I don't know. Marvel, I read an article this week stating that people in the know are saying that Marvel is going to ramp up their relaunches. So essentially, what they're going to do is, even if they don't have a new creative team, they're going to cancel a book, relaunch it with a number one. When readership falls below a certain threshold, they're going to relaunch it with another number one. So you're going to get more runs of number ones through 10, 12, maybe 15 issues canceled, and then more number ones because number ones sell.
That's stupid.
It's ridiculous.
That's just.
It's the sort of thing that drives the industry into the ground.
It really is.
Yeah. And I really hope they don't do that, but there's somebody that's in the publishing arm at Marvel that is making these calls, and I don't think it's editors in chiefs, because you've seen this pattern persist despite them. Somebody in marketing and sales is making these calls without understanding what is really going on in the industry or how this affects the industry.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what was it they did a couple of years ago at one of the Comic Cons, and it was just a horrible idea. Oh, they were doing a thing with
it was an Iron Man book with Northrop Grumman.
Yes, and nobody at Marvel understood why they wouldn't be happy with Northrop Grumman.
Yeah. And if you don't know who Northrop Grumman is, they're the third largest manufacturer of defense technology in the world. And by defense technology, I mean missiles,
tanks,
airplanes, weapons of warfare in an Iron Man book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a brilliant idea.
Yeah. Like, dude,
they tried to grab the gear in the comics before any of them actually got out to the public.
Yeah, it actually showed up on Unlimited and then disappeared.
Yes, it did.
What's really funny is that I'm sure in a meeting somewhere, somebody went, "Hey, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't do this." And that person didn't get listened to. And then later, when the bad idea came to fruition, somebody went, "Why didn't anyone tell us?" And then that guy went, "I did. I told you. It would be a bad idea."
Yeah. Before we dive into our books for the week, this week's books, and maybe this month's books, are the ones that have 3 or 4 pages. I think in the original issues, this is like a 4-page spread dedicated to Steve Ditko, who passed away last year. And it's got Spider-Man 33 in it, which is, people consider the classic Spider-Man book the classic Ditko book. It was also his last issue on the book because he was crazy. But yeah, this is the dedication to Ditko, and there's a nice little blurb there about him, and it was nice, man.
Yeah, it's nice that they put that in there for him.
Yeah.
If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com.
The website is www.6monthsbehind.com.
And just to let you guys know, we are discussing spoilers for all the comic books that came out this week. So if you don't want to be spoiled, pause here, go read the comic books, come back later. We will still be here.
Yes, we will.
And Pat, we had the big elephant in the room this week, so we're going to start with that one.
Fantastic Four #1. And did you go all the way to the end of this book and see Scotty Young's page?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cute because this is Dan Slott's launch of it. I tell you what, it opens with Ben and Alicia shopping and Johnny at a ball game. and somebody sends up a Fantastic Four flare. And by the way, that's the wrong flare. It never looked like that. It was always a 4, not the words Fantastic Four. Anyway, so Johnny goes running out because he's still convinced they're alive. Ben knows they're not. Turns out it's a Yancey Street gang. Johnny wants them punished to the fullest extent of the law. Ben pays their fine for him and hires Jennifer Walters to represent them because, he knows they're not coming back. Then we get this flashback to a story that is absolutely irrelevant to everything. I have no idea why it's here, other than they needed to make this book, 44 pages so they could charge me $8 for it when I bought it on the newsstand. Then in a touching scene, he finally asked Alicia Masters to marry him. Ben Grimm does, which is pretty cool considering, one of the first things Dan Slott did when he took over Spider-Man was to break up Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson.
No, that wasn't Dan.
That wasn't Dan?
No, Dan took it over with Brand New Day. Although at the time, Brand New Day, when it first came out, was publishing 3 times a month. And they actually had a writing team on the comic, and they rotated story arcs.
I thought Dan Slott got all the hate for breaking up Peter and Mary Jane.
That was who was that? It wasn't Dan Slott. I know that because Dan Slott didn't come on it until Brand New Day, and he was part of that writing team. And once they stopped publishing it every 3 weeks or whatever it was, he was the only writer that stayed on the book. But no, I don't think Dan Slott was actually responsible for One More Day.
Okay. Anyway, the first thing he does here is put them back together. And Ben wants Johnny to be his best man. Johnny gets mad because Reed Richards should be his best man, except Reed isn't there. And then they'll have a group hug. And as they're convinced it's not there, we cut to Reed and Sue, and Reed is on some planet looking kind of scraggly, trying to find a way to contact Ben and Johnny, and he lights up the sky with a giant 4, which is how it's supposed to look, by the way. That page, that 4 on page 32 is how the 4 is supposed to look. Okay. Then we cut to the Doctor Doom, who is a defeated villain. Do we know how he got here? A defeated hero?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he had that altercation with that demon thing at the end of Iron Man, but I don't know. It's not really stated, and that kind of irritates me because they're obviously moving him back towards his villainous roots without really giving a reason.
Well, he basically says here that, he's just a villain. He's always going to be a villain, and that's the way it is. And we'll discuss that more in X-Men Blue in a few minutes.
Yeah, by the way, One More Day was J. Michael Straczynski and Joe Quesada.
Was it really?
Yeah. I knew Straczynski had been on the run before that happened because he did it during the Civil... Because Straczynski was on it for ages. And he did all the Civil War tie-ins and stuff. And that was actually an era of the comics I really like. And I have no problem with One More Day. But I remember Joe Quesada getting a ton of heat for that, and I was trying to remember why. And he was EIC at the time, but I had forgotten that he co-wrote this with J. Michael Straczynski. So no, there was a ton of writers after they finished, and then Brand New Day went on, and then Dan Slott became the mainstay.
Yeah. So yes, Dr. Doom is a villain taking over Latveria again. At least we think he's a villain. Then we get a Scotty Young page, which is pretty cute on the last page where the Impossible Man is complaining in a bunch of Scotty Young art about why we didn't see the Fantastic Four together. And Dan Slott promises that they'll be together next issue, and they will.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is good, man. It was a good relaunch. I've read up through number 5, and yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this, especially since Dan Slott's on it.
Right.
So, glad to have it.
Yeah, there you go.
and hopefully it won't get canceled immediately.
Hopefully not. No.
How many issues are they up to? In I guess 6 or 7 on the stands.
I think I've got 6. I don't think I've read 6, but I got it.
Okay.
It should be about time for another one.
I was gonna say, you know what the sales number are, or sales numbers are like?
No, but while you're talking about a book, I'll find out.
Okay. Well, in Champions 23 this week, as we saw in the last issue, the champions are in what was it, Tanzania? I don't remember. They're investigating the water supply of some village because something's happened to it. Turns out what's happened to it is the man thing has taken up residence in it and it's tainted the water. The man thing attacks Viv, and Viv's having some difficulty with that because synthezoid physiology and stuff. The rest of the champions jump into action. There's a big old fight. I mean, this is all really a vehicle for Viv dealing with her inner turmoil. Because, as was revealed in previous issues, she turned off her emotion chip, which we've seen Vision do a couple times. So while she was under the influence of Man Thing, and rendered unconscious, she's now having this kind of like inside her mind inner dialogue with herself, trying to come to terms with all the horrible things that have happened to her. Anyway, Man Thing opens a portal and sends a number of all the champions into some other dimension or something. Yeah, that's a thing that happened.
Yeah, there you go. 368,914 copies. And Infinity Wars #1, which was right behind it, sold 104,363.
We know how the sales have kept up like that? Surely not.
I don't know. I just sent it to you. You glance at it while I look at X-Men Blue. Yeah. This book opens with Magneto in a dystopian future where lots of humans are dead and lots of mutants are dead, and he's being haunted by the ghost of the Mother Vine mutants that he killed. And he's greeted by a bunch of Reavers that he stalks pretty quickly. And this whole issue, he's kind of doing a inner monologue thing where basically he's saying, I've tried to do good. I've tried to be a hero, but there's only one way I know how to do things, and knowing how to do things that way makes me a villain. So I'm a villain. Is kind of his summary. If you want to call me a villain for doing things in this manner, then I'll be a villain for doing things in this manner. But, call me what you want to. This is how I operate. And he's met by some young mutants who think he's a hero. And then he's met by the X-Men Blue team who are there to stomp him. So there you go. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great.
Yeah, it was. I don't know, man. This X-Men Blue thing's wrapping up, and it's going to lead into what is it, Extermination?
Yes, which comes out next week.
Yeah, and I think it's a good time to axe that comic because it hasn't really done anything in
a while.
Yeah, at least the last 12 issues, if not the last 20.
Right.
Hunt for Wolverine, Adamantium Agenda #4. That's the last issue of this. By the way, with #4, all of these Hunt for Wolverine comics are ending. That doesn't mean the Hunt for Wolverine's over. It just means these 4 series will be ending to launch into more Hunt for Wolverine stuff.
Yes.
And it'll be another 6 months before he actually shows up again. So years ago, there was a bomb in New York City, and the only one who could disarm it was Wolverine, because as soon as you disarm it, it explodes. Turns out what Wolverine saw before he had his face blown off was a Stark Industries logo. He and Stark have a conversation about that, like, hey man, don't do that. Anyway, in the present day, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Laura Kinney, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones, all wearing various Iron Man armors, have stumbled upon Mr. Sinister's catalog of genetic material. And Tony's first instinct is to gather all the data and do something with it. And maybe even all the genetic samples, rather than destroy it and keep it out of the hands of anyone. And that's kind of, in years past, was Wolverine's whole point was, hey, look, you have the capacity to do these things. You need to see people before you see the potential of something. And this is one of those situations. This is something he's reminded of. And of course, he turns the team loose on it and destroys all the stuff. What does all this have to do with Wolverine returning? Not a lot, really. They go back to Jess and Luke's house in Harlem. Jessica makes Laura hold the baby for some reason, and that's that. Anyway, we get Hunt for Wolverine dead ends next. So, yeah.
No, you get the you get the Hunt for Wolverine dead ends, and next month we get the Return of Wolverine.
Yeah,
I know that because that issue sold 260,410 copies. Yeah, there you go. And to answer your question, Fantastic Four sold 85,540
this month, or last month, rather, January.
Yes. No. That was number 2 in September.
Oh. Yeah, I was looking at the numbers and it didn't even crack the top 25 in January, so probably will be canceled and relaunched again anytime now.
How many did it have? How many issues?
Don't know. Still scrolling.
All right. And Old Man Logan, number 40 something. Whatever it is. We've got the Bullseye Returns, 45. There we go. This was the final showdown with Bullseye where Logan, Joy Jones, and Shotgun are chasing Bullseye. Apparently, Bullseye has kidnapped a kid and has him held hostage somewhere. Wolverine has sent Glob to try and rescue the kid, which, everyone wants to talk to a transparent skeletal mutant. So that was a good idea. Wolverine talks to Joy and says, hey, by the way, are you sure you want to keep up this whole Punisher act even after even after we get Bullseye, because it's a hard life. They have Bullseye. Turns out Bullseye's already killed the kid, but the only way they find him out. So Bullseye gets away. Joy gets Logan set free with the police. Everybody lives happily ever after. It's good art. It's a good story. It's just one of those things that's hard to describe because it's all shooting and cutting and killing.
Yeah, it's a big action-packed issue.
Right.
And sometimes there's just not a whole lot of meat to those.
Right.
Yeah, it's whatever, man. It was a good issue. Don't get me wrong. But it's action packed, and so sometimes it's hard to sum that up.
Right.
Yeah, unless you want us sitting here describing exactly how Wolverine stabs somebody with his claws, which I don't think you want.
No, you don't.
Domino number 5 is similar, as it's very action packed. Domino is teamed up with Shang-Chi to take on Topaz and her goons. Topaz almost kills one of her friends. Domino figures out exactly how her luck power works and is able to manipulate it in an indirect kind of way. We figure out who Topaz is and why she's so ticked off at Domino. Yeah, it was good. It's not the last we've seen of Topaz. In fact, I think she'll be back in the next issue, but this has been really good. Kelly Thompson doing good work here on a character who's not, not Kelly Thompson. Gail Simone's writing this. I get the two of them confused sometimes. You know, Domino has never been the most fleshed out, interesting character. And she's always in a team and she's rarely ever seen solo. So to see her flesh out this character in this way and in a creative way that I actually care about is really good. I enjoyed it.
There you go. In December, I don't think January's numbers are there.
They're not. That's why I couldn't find them.
In December, Fantastic Four was the 7th best selling book with 78,322 copies.
Oh, only the 7th best selling book. So I assume Marvel's going to cancel it and relaunch it soon.
Batman, Doomsday Clock, Batman, Amazing Spider-Man 11, Fantastic Four 5.
That's funny because that issue of Doomsday Clock has been the best seller for months and it's still not out.
Number 8?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 9 that wasn't out.
Maybe it is 9. I don't know. Either way, that thing.
Either way, they're taking like 2 years to put out 12 issues.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I remember reading the first like 4 or 5 issues of Doomsday Clock a year ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I'm just going to wait till they're all out. Next we have, what do we have next? Oh, Exiles number 6, which, you know, I like this book. I do. I like these characters. They're hanging out on vacation in, where is it? Bermuda, Jamaica, somewhere, after their last adventure. And
it's Jamaica.
Was it Jamaica? Oh, and they're helping rebuild Jamaica after one of the hurricanes. When they decide to go looking for the young lady's friends who are lost somewhere in the time-space continuum, so they think going into the time-space continuum will be a good thing because that always works out well for everybody.
Yeah.
And they wind up in the 1800s Western United States, where the Magnus gang runs the town and kills people randomly, and they run into a Western Magneto, Scarlet Witch, Toad, Quicksilver, and somebody else. I think it's Jason Wingrade. Anyway, yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Then we get King T'Challa dressed in a Western outfit coming to save the day on the last page.
Yeah, this book's always been a little odd, but this got real weird.
Dude, it just took a turn for the weird. And yeah, I'm convinced this week you kept all the good books other than Fantastic Four #1 and gave me all the books that sucked.
This didn't suck. It's just odd.
Okay, sure.
I might make the argument that aside from Fantastic Four, there weren't a ton of great books out this week.
Yeah, and I might agree with that argument.
Yeah. It was noticeably shorter. There's only 15 comics that came out?
Dude, tops.
Yeah. So we didn't have a whole lot to work with, but not that Exiles was bad. I, for one, do not like Westerns. So when the superhero comics take that back in time to a Western themed town where, whether it's Jonah Hex in the DC stuff, or if it's something like this where there's like a Marvel superhero twist on the Wild West, I am not into it. I hate it. So I did not particularly.
How do you really feel?
This. I don't like it. Okay. I find it mildly annoying. It's not my thing. Although I've enjoyed Exiles enough that I'll continue reading this.
Okay.
Yeah. To something else that was half-baked this week is Spider-Man Annual #1.
I'm trying to put it out of my mind. What was it about? So
it's Miles Morales' birthday, and he's getting into a fight with what's the vampire's name?
I don't care.
I want to say Strahd von Zarovich because me and the D&D group are running through Curse of Strahd right now, and I know that's not right. Morbius. God, I couldn't remember the vampire's name. He's fighting Morbius, and this fight with Morbius reminds him of a time that he couldn't save somebody years ago on his birthday. he gets hooked up with some tickets to the opening of some really cool clothing store. Basically, I'm not familiar with this trend, but apparently this is a thing. Like when a hip new clothing store opens in the neighborhood, they sell tickets to as like it's an event, and you get to go in and shop for whatever you want. And you get first pick.
It's that whole
So
Kardashian thing, man. I don't know. I don't care.
yeah, whatever. So he takes this. He takes Yankee, and they meet this dude and his cousin or whatever, and the cousin's like trying to hook Miles up with the girl or whatever, and a scroll attacks because apparently this is during the secret invasion, and apparently Miles had powers then, and also was around because he wasn't in the Ultimate Universe. I don't know.
Okay.
Apparently, we've just forgotten that the Ultimate Universe existed and that Miles came from a different universe. Miles tries to take out the scroll, but of course, this is early in his time as Spider-Man. In fact, he's not really Spider-Man yet, and it doesn't go well. One of the kids gets killed, and he is reminded in this moment fighting Morbius because he remembers on his birthday he couldn't save somebody, so now that means he has to fight Morbius. I don't know. It was not great.
Okay. Speaking of designer clothes, go ahead.
These annuals are never good.
No, I just sent you a picture of what Kim Kardashian wore Sunday night, so you get an idea of what her idea of designing is. And my question was, how much tape was used to do that? Anyway, a lot. Yeah. So we have Amazing Spider-Man #3, and this book kind of,
I enjoyed it.
Well, Nick Spencer did this a lot when from between Pleasant Hill and Secret Empire. Nick Spencer did a lot of issues like this where you're not really doing anything. You're just kind of laying the groundwork for what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking for a lot of action, you need to go back and read Old Man Logan #45. If you're looking for character building and story building for what's going to happen over the next 10 issues, read Amazing Spider-Man #3. So it opens with Peter bowling with Mary Jane while Spider-Man is out doing stuff. And it turns out Spider-Man's fighting the Tri-Sentinel, which I've never heard of. I don't care. And, then we get the flashback to what happened, which is he was thrown into the, whatever it's called, excuse me, the machine that first gave him, the isotope genome accelerator. And it actually separated he and Spider-Man. So they run a bunch of stupid tests on each other to determine that that's who they really are. Peter goes bowling. Spider-Man goes fighting the Tri-Sentinel when Peter gets a call from Dr. Kirk Connors. And turns out this isn't really working out as well as he'd hoped. Because it's just not, the whole thing just isn't really working out for him. By the way, when did Kirk Connors get 2 arms?
I don't know, because he didn't have it in issue number 1 or 2 when we saw him.
Right, but he does on the 3rd panel of page 19, and he definitely does on the last panel of page 20 when he's holding up 2 rats, and again on page 21. So, anywho,
that's weird. Also, he's shifting between his lizard form and his human form, so I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, he explains to Peter that in the rats that the isotope machine was tested on, they're not the same. One of them's smart, one of them's dumb, one of them has morals and ethics, and one of them doesn't, and this is going to end bad for Peter.
Well, it's not that one's smart and one's dumb. It's that certain skills get transferred to the new one, and the other one no longer possesses them. So what we're seeing with Spider-Man is that all the skill sets that Peter Parker possessed as Spider-Man have moved to the Spider-Man version of him that's running around. But along with that is his scientific know-how. So the regular Peter walking around all of a sudden doesn't know
how to flip a light switch.
Yeah. So that's the conflict here, is he's going to have to figure out how to put himself back together.
Right.
I enjoyed the issue.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, it just wasn't a lot of action. It was, a lot of dialogue and a lot of character building and a lot of plot building.
Yeah, which is what I enjoyed. I like the action, but if you're going to give me 24 pages of nothing but punching and kicking and fighting, I find that to be a boring comic book. Not that I that's all the time, but
Yeah, but you like Punisher.
yeah, but that's not all Punisher is either.
Okay.
It's not.
Sure.
Have you been reading The Punisher?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you know exactly what I'm
We'll
talking
we'll
about.
take. I'll tell you what. Next time a Punisher issue comes out, we'll count the death toll.
Well, they're relaunching it with a number 1 just because he's not in the War Machine armor anymore.
Oh my god.
Oh no, you can rack up a body count and still do lots of character building and exposition like they did in The Punisher, but that whole War Machine arc was about him trying to make amends for what he did as an agent of Hydra.
While he's racking up lots of body counts.
Yeah, you can do both.
Yeah.
Anyway, Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows 22. Annie gets a text message from Normie Osborn, who we saw in the last issue was captured by Mr. Sinister, because Mr. Sinister has taken up residence in the basement of Oscorp to take advantage of Norman Osborn's old work. So they're off to Oscorp. They get into a fight with not just Annie's doppelganger, Spiderling's doppelganger, but also they created doppelgangers for Spider-Man and Mary Jane as well. So there's a big fight going on there. During that fight, it's revealed that they're not clones. They're just simply other enhanced human beings. They ride the elevator down to confront Mr. Sinister, but Mr. Sinister has already put his plan into place. So yeah, enjoying this comic. It's not very serious. It's kind of dumb sometimes, but it's fun usually. With the exception of that cruise issue a few months back.
This is true. I was trying to find the sales figures from December on Spider-Man Deadpool, and I'm not seeing it. Maybe they're so bad it got canceled. Can I only hope?
Dude, that's the one book they'll never cancel, probably.
Batman, Amazing Spider-Man, Batman, Justice League, Amazing Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Green Lantern, Venom, Justice League, Uncanny. I'm not seeing it. And it comes out twice a month. Maybe there's hope. There's hope.
I take that to mean you're not enjoying Spider-Man Deadpool.
I like Robbie Thompson, man, but I don't know what this is. It's called My Two Dads. And I was hoping the Master Matrix was going away after last issue. Instead, no, he's got Spider-Man and Deadpool raising him and trying to teach him morality and trying to teach him how to be a hero without killing people. And he's got Deadpool teaching him this. So how do you think that's going for him? It opens with what is basically a session in the Danger Room where Master Matrix just kills everyone eventually. Deadpool cheers. Peter's like, no, that doesn't work. And Mockingbird, Bobby Morrissey is like, dude, how long you been trying to do this? How many weeks? How many months? This isn't working. This isn't working for you. Then they wind up actually fighting some villains. They wind up fighting the Wrecking Crew, and Master Matrix goes to help them. Master Mold, whatever, I don't care. Goes to help him somehow.
That's what you're tripping up over.
Somehow he puts them in the Savage Land, and now we're gonna get dinosaurs.
Hooray,
dude! I don't care, man.
I don't blame you. I don't care either.
Mr. and Miss X only sold 15,000 copies.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll end soon.
Weapon H sold 16,000. West Coast Avenger sold 15,000.
Good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, Daredevil 606.
Yeah. So
That was a good book.
it was pretty good. Yeah. So there's like A and B story happening here. And we kind of flash back and forth. One of the first one is Hammerhead is breaking into a bank in Manhattan, which of course Daredevil goes to stop him and is kind of confused as to why he's breaking into a bank. Turns out he didn't do it just to break into a bank. He did it to garner attention and to hold hostages. And knowing in this day and age, everybody has a phone, he's able to get himself out there, and he's trying to horn in on the Kingpin's territory. The second story is that Daredevil is teaming up with I can never remember this dude's name.
I don't know. I was still looking at sales figures.
The McGee, Detective McGee, who worked for both the NYPD and the Inhumans at one point in time.
I want to say it's Trevor McGee, but that may not be right.
It's not correct.
Travis McGee is a John McDonald character that was a great series of books in the 60s and 70s. Yellow.
Yeah. I thought you were recapping Daredevil now.
No, I was making McGee jokes.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, Daredevil was fine.
Okay. Quicksilver number 4. Dude, this book. This issue we have Quicksilver and a turtle. Rather than Quicksilver just talking to himself the whole issue, he's talking to a turtle. And apparently he has to learn Buddhism and learn Zen and get himself recentered so he can become at peace with the world and somehow assimilate himself back into the 616 universe, which I'm hoping he fails at.
Yeah.
I wish I was making that up. That's honestly the plot line here.
Yeah. This Quicksilver book sucks. Unbeatable Squirrel Girl was pretty good. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, except Squirrel Girl teams up with both Spider-Man and Kraven the Hunter and gives Spider-Man a history lesson in French history regarding both the nature of power and responsibility. Yeah.
There you go. Moving into our Star Wars books, we have Darth Vader number 19. Is that the right number?
Yeah.
Yes, 19. Mm-hmm. Written by Charles Soule. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his artist's name, but it's great. The art, I should say, is great. The page 4 of Vader walking into the room is just it's classic art and classic Vader. There's a Jedi who has had a child baby born on some faraway planet, and golly, I just forgot these guys' names. What are the guys that are helping out Vader in this?
The Inquisitors.
The Inquisitors, thank you. Vader and the Inquisitors are there to kill the baby and kill anybody else they want to, which they do. Then they return to Coruscant, where Vader has nothing to do. And apparently that's not sitting well with him because he's kind of bored. And the Inquisitors are sitting around in the bar discussing what are we going to do next when Vader shows up and says, I don't know. Why don't you think about this?
Yeah. Spoiler alert, this is going to lead him to Mustafar, where he's going to build his fortress, and that's probably the best story arc in the whole series.
Yeah, this is Fortress Vader Part 1.
Yeah, this is the lead in to that.
Right.
And it's also my favorite book this week.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Mine is either Daredevil or Fantastic Four. And because we didn't get the Fantastic Four back together, I'm going to go with Daredevil.
Really?
Yeah, I really like what they're doing in that Daredevil book.
Yeah, I mean it's good. I was a little confused about the ending, but
dude, and there's only so many good books this week.
Yeah, like we just named the 3 books that were worth a crap.
Yeah,
With
Fantastic
the
Four,
exception of
Daredevil.
maybe Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not a great week. In the dump this week, we have a Thanos source book. I have no idea what that's about. A Man Thing series from 2004, The Order from 2002. Don't know what that is. And a bunch of Marvel Universe books from 98. And Venus from the 50s.
I tried
The
to
late
read what
40s,
that
in
was.
fact.
Is that like Marvel's romance books from then?
Yeah, like that's the thing is like if you're not from superhero comic books weren't always the thing. I mean, you had weird tales, you had suspense, you had romance comics, you had detective comics, you had all these different genres of comics, and romance was one of them. And this was published in the 1940s by Stan Lee before he was Stan Lee, so.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why those are there. The only thing I can think of is Valentine's Day. But
Okay, sure.
yeah,
That's as good a reason as anything else, man.
yeah. Anyway, that'll do it this week. If you have any questions, call me at 800-268-3453. I don't know why I just told you my phone number, let alone my work phone number. I'm falling apart. What is happening to me?
I don't know, man. I was just trying to make a couple of Travis jokes in Daredevil, and I completely threw you off the scent, man. I didn't mean to.
Anyway, if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com.
You can check out the website, www.6monthsbehind.com.
All right. Do you have any wisdom before we go?
Or you can get us at Twitter.
No, you can't.
Amos Bronson Alcott said, to be ignorant of one's ignorance is the malady of the ignorant. I guess I should know how to pronounce all the words. All right, this is completely left the rails.
Yeah. All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.